Record. All right, everybody. Welcome to the Tribe, Redefine, and Friends team call. It is Monday, July 15th. It is an extra special team call because it is the first Monday night after Summit. And so our brains, our minds, our bodies, our energy is at its peak and sometimes at its overload. So I wanted to give you something tangible and something specific.
But look at both.
Wait, who's talking? Someone's talking. I'm going to mute you guys. Hold on. Let me see here. I can never find the buttons.
Oh, crap.
Hold on. I can't do it. I'm losing my brain. I'm not on my usual computer. Manage participants. There we go. Lord. Okay. I think everybody is muted now. But if not, it's okay. It's no big deal. All right. So as I was saying, we're in a bit of a stage of overwhelm where there's a lot of information coming at you. So I tried to go through all of my notes from Summit that I received from the general sessions that everyone was a part of, and then what I was able to get in the Leadership 2 training, and put it in as sequential of an order as I can. So tonight I want to talk to you very basically about habit stacking and just this little tip that I took from one of those trainings, and then a diamond growth outline that Danielle Natoni put together. And what I want you to think about when I get to that part of the training is, are you growing yourself as that diamond, or are you at the stage where you're growing others into those diamonds? So regardless of where you are in your business, you should be able to take something from that part of the training. Then we'll end with an action item, which is multifaceted tonight. So we're going to be fast and furious. I'm not going to be doing recognition on the calls because I really want to make sure, since I'm inviting so many different teams, it would be unfair for me to just recognize my coaches, which is why in the chat, I would love for everybody to put their Success Club numbers if you came on late and didn't do that, or not late, but after I said that. And also, if you have a coach in your downline or across the pond that you would like to shout out for any reason, feel free to throw that in the chat at any time. As I see messages pop up at the end, I'll go through and read them, just so that we do have a way to give some recognition, since I don't have access to all that info. All right, so without further ado, let us get started. The first thing I have to say is that it's crazy the way that they set up the trainings at Summit this year, but in a really exciting way. But they tracked the leadership trainings based on lifetime rank. So I'm very lucky that I was able to get 2-star qualified before Summit deadline this year and was able to sit in the room of 2-star and above. So it was like me and Melanie Mitro and Bonnie Engel and all these people, which when I walked into the room at first made me feel incredibly underqualified to be there. But then every coach that got on stage was so real and so vulnerable and feeling all the same feelings I was feeling. Bonnie Engel got up on stage and said she has no idea why they asked her to speak. She hasn't rank advanced in 3 years. Lindsay Matway got on stage and said she's never felt more disconnected from her body and from her team in the past year with her growing family and this and that. Like every single coach, as glamorous and beautiful and put together and successful as they look, down to me and you, we all feel the same thing. So it was really humbling. And I know that I was put in that room because some of you were put in another room and some of you were put in another room so that we could spread all the wealth. So I took it in. The very first speaker that we had was this guy named James Clear. He wrote the book Atomic Habits, which I hear is very awesome. I really loved his tips, and I'm going to be sharing all of his tips over on my Instagram over the next couple of days. So you can check them out there. I don't mean that as like a plug to my Instagram, but it's nothing you guys don't know. It's about how to create a habit stacking. If you've listened to any National Wake Up Call or any book that they recommend ever, you know these things. So he was kind of a little bit of a waste of time in a way. But he said 2 phrases that stood out to me, and I want you guys to hold on to these thoughts. He says, if you have good habits, time becomes your ally. With bad habits, time becomes your enemy. And I thought that was so cool. We have a little accountability thread that goes on with a couple of the girls that are on here. And then a couple of us also meet as our 5 a.m. club every 5 a.m. every day and get our workout in starting by 5:15. And Jackie today decided she wants to up level, and we're going to go around and read goals real quick every day at 5 a.m. just ways to have a system in place to keep that time meaning something. If not, we're going to sit there and talk about our laundry that we have to fold and not really being effective. So when you have systems in place and habits in place, time is your ally. When you don't, time is your enemy. That's when you feel like you never have enough time. I thought that was cool. But then this one I just really loved. He says, you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. So think about that. We can sit here and be like, I'm going to be this star diamond, and I'm going to be on that stage, and I'm going to lose this weight, and I'm going to do this. But if you're not tracking, if you're not following a program, if you're not following a system, if you're not writing things down and following up with customers, if you don't have systems in place, it's going to take you forever to do that. You're going to fall off a million times. And I just thought that was so cool. We don't rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our systems. So find yourself a system. I know Jess and I and a couple of us have talked about this planner. I'm really loving my Rise Up planner, but I'm still tracking my invites in a notebook. It's just what works best for me. Find your system and it'll work for everyone, okay? Or that works for you. It's not the one that works for everyone, is what I wanted to say. All right, that's just a little bit of a thought before we get started. Now, to get us really rocking and rolling here, Danielle Natoni and her Diamond Growth Training. So I want to quickly show this to you. I am going to take a picture of this, and I will tag it in the comments when I share the actual video of the call. So if you want a vision of my notes, then you can look down at this and kind of look at that if you'd rather listen than take notes tonight. But she gave this really cool analogy, and I want to start with it because it's something I never thought of before. She said, if you think about when someone is proposed to, when that man drops down on one knee and he hands that woman an engagement ring and he places it on her finger, whether it's a diamond or a series of diamonds, no matter how big or small, that diamond exists on a ring. A man doesn't hand a woman a stone and say, hey, will you be my wife? Because where's that stone going to go? It's going to fall. It's going to crumble. Excuse me. It has nothing to hold on to. But when it's surrounded by support, that's when it remains. And that's when it stays sparkly. And that's when it stays strong. And, you know, think about how women upgrade their rings these days. And maybe you guys have these fabulous diamondy rings. You know, the more diamonds, the sparklier. The more diamonds, the stronger, right? And that's what she said our coach businesses are like. And there's a reason that we're called diamonds. And that's why we're star diamonds and this, that, and the other thing. The stronger your ring, your team, the more diamonds you have. So keep that in mind depending on the type of ring, the type of coaching business that you want to have. And she gave us this awesome acronym that spells down the word diamonds on how to grow diamond leaders, either in yourself or as a team. So the first D in diamonds stands for develop. And that's where she talks about a diamond roadmap. You can go on to Beachbody Coach Office and you can find the diamond roadmap and all the steps that it'll take. And in our action item today, I'm going to talk to you very quickly, and some of you, this won't be new. I know Teresa does this as well. We'll see something that I do that's really helpful. But create a diamond roadmap for yourself and see where and how to build these diamonds. See where your weak volume exists. See where these coaches are floating in and out of active status, and that's where you want to place your next. Really think about it. Don't let Coach Office automatically place your people. Be aware of it at all times. And when we get into this, keep an idea of who you could plug in, like who could go into these spots that could make these diamonds for you. But have that diamond roadmap, take a look at it, and work with your coaches on creating one as well. The next letter in diamonds, I, stands for invest. And she says that we need to invest in our strongest people. You do not have to feel bad not spending time with your coaches who are not doing anything. One clue, she said, if a coach goes emerald pretty soon, like if they're in it and they go emerald right away, like my girl Jackie did here, you know that they're in it. And you know that that person deserves your time and deserves your energy. And it doesn't mean don't be friends with these people. And if they come on a team call, don't love on them. But you do not have to give one-on-one calls to every one of your coaches who is not doing the business. You do not have to answer every one of their questions. Think about those of you that were at Summit, the Jade Simmons little point there that she made when she had those two girls come on. She showed them the keys to press, and then she walked away and talked to us for a couple minutes before she went and added her flair to the music that they were making. That's what we can do for our coaches. We show them what they can do, and then if they're continuing to play, that's when we come in and invest the time. But we can't hover, we can't force, we can't drag them along, but invest in the people who are working. She also said that it is totally okay to share your energy differently. So it's not just time, but you can share your energy differently. You need to protect your energy resources and give to the people who fuel you and fire you up. It's okay. She also made mention that you can totally fire your downline, which I thought was really interesting. And she said it in front of compliance and no one yelled at her. But she's like, if this person's not jiving with you and they're sucking your energy, it's okay to say to them, I have a feeling that this isn't for you. Perhaps a customer-coach relationship worked better for us. She said, she's gotten big enough that she has said that to people because they're just taking too much or they don't fit her team vibe after a while. I don't think any of us are in that place where we're going to be like throwing people off to the side at this moment because we want people. But you know what I mean? It's okay in the long run. The next letter in diamonds is A, and that stands for acquire. She said that as we acquire our diamonds, we have to teach them that the vital behaviors are non-negotiable. They are non-negotiable, and that it's okay for us to show our team that exists, that the more people we are acquiring, the more people on our team doing the vital behaviors, it's not an insult to any of our old dogs, she called them. She's like, you can't teach old dogs new tricks, but old dogs should not be afraid of new blood. So if we're continuing to acquire coaches and make that a culture on our team as best as we can to keep creating new lifelines, new blood in our team, those old dogs should feel supported and feel loved and feel like there's more people bringing new energy. They shouldn't feel like we're replacing them. So make a culture of acquisition, of acquiring people, not replacing, and sending that message. But she said that the vital behaviors have to be a thing. If someone's not doing the vital behaviors, they kind of don't even count when you're looking at your team downline. They count for volume and this, that, and the other thing, but they're not the people you're investing your time in. The next letter is M, which is to model. And I love, the concept, the speed of the leader is the speed of the pack. What Danielle Natoni said is she runs really fast so that her team has to catch up with her. And she really hopes that they surpass her. And who's the number one coach right now? Danielle Natoni's coach, Ashley Mulstead. And who's the number 3 coach right now? Ashley Mulstead's coach, Emily Favre. So she has led her team to a culture in which they run really, really fast. And I actually left a voice person thread that we're constantly in each other's faces and in each other's ear and building business together. And it's really helpful. So find yourself a small pod like that you can trust. But I said to them that I know for a fact that I have not been coaching and leading to my full potential because I've been loving on everyone and trying to just be like, okay, that's your pace. Good for you. Okay, great, whatever. But that's not doing anyone any favors. If someone wants to be a part of my team, which we know we're capable of big things, and if someone wants to be a part of Leslie's team or Mindy's team or Melissa or Laura's team, they need to know what your plan is. They need to know what your goals are, and they need to know that that's got to be okay with them. And if it's not, it's going to be okay with you too. You're still going to love that they're a part of it. But you're going to be running in this direction or walking at a fast pace or maybe crawling, whatever your pace is. But that's the pace that your team, your real team, is going to adopt. So don't be afraid to scare people. Don't be afraid to push too hard that you'll push them away. Who's left are your people. They're going to be the ones running alongside of you and leading along with you. Okay. She also said to set a rhythm within the modeling, to set a rhythm for your own rank advancements or income advancements or whatever, and to be transparent with those with your coaches. You have to know what your goals are. Maybe not everyone's goals rank. Maybe not everyone's goals financial increment changes or whatever, but just know what your goal is as a leader, and that's the pace you want to communicate to your team. And their goal might look different, but they'll match your pace to their specific goal. So if, let's pretend I'm just looking at Laura right now, so I'm going to use her as an example. If Laura's goal is to keep advancing star diamonds, and Stacy is one of your coaches, right, Laura? I'm not making that up. Stacy's goal might be instead that she wants to raise her income by $100 each week, okay? they can still work on those goals simultaneously, and they can still move at the same pace, even if their goal doesn't match. So just be transparent with what your goal is and your speed with which you plan on acquiring that goal and reaching and exceeding that goal. And hopefully your team can do the same with their specific goals. So it kind of helps when you look at it that way. The next letter, O, stands for outline. And she really said that everybody should be looking at the Road to Elite. If you're in the track that I was in, they were all like, don't worry about the Success Club tracker, use the Road to Elite. I'm like, kind of scares the pants off of me a little bit. But be familiar with the Road to Elite. Be familiar with Team Builder and all of those little elements that lead up to the Road to Elite, and just give yourself a little score every once in a while, maybe once a quarter. Just take a look and see how you're doing on that roadmap. And once you're starting to make some gains on it, then that can become a part of your tracking. But just be aware of what's, on the Road to Elite, so that as your team continues to develop, it's not a surprise and you're learning when it's a little bit too far into the game. The N is my favorite, and it stands for nourish. And she said it's super important that you nourish your own time, energy, and attention, and that you make sure that you recognize that when you give your coaches that time and recognition and attention, it doesn't have to be gifts. It doesn't have to be trips. It doesn't have to be sweatshirts and swag and Starbucks gift cards. Oftentimes, our coaches would just like one-on-one time with us when they're not expecting it. And it's okay for us to realize that that one-on-one time is what's very valuable to our people. Tell them, I would love to do a social media audit for you. Can I do that? Tell them that you would love to spend 10 minutes before the team call reviewing their own personal goals before the whole team sucks your energy. Reach out to your coaches and give them as much one-on-one time as you do your challengers. And give them that understanding that you believe in them, and that's the greatest recognition that most of us can receive. And I can agree with that as well. Every time, like today, Jess and I did a lot of talking, a lot of things we didn't get to talk about over Summit. We talked through a lot today, and it's so empowering when you have that person above you that can speak into you a little bit, or that you can speak into as well. So create that understanding that you're here for them, and when you're going to give that time, maybe it's not a lot of time each week, but it's going to be so valuable. It's going to be worth it, and something you can both look forward to, really nourishing your relationship and nourishing their ability as a coach. The last D is to duplicate. Use the back office, like all of the grow your business resources that are there, the challenge tracker guides, all that stuff. Teach your coaches to use that material. If you listen to Bob Heilig or Brock Johnson or some of the really cool MLM gurus, they will tell you that you need to use third-party tools when you're sharing business opportunity or sharing about the challenge groups or sharing about the stuff, because they don't want it to be like you're the only person in the world who knows everything. That's intimidating to others who want to be a coach. If every time you're like, well, here's information on Morning Meltdown 100, and then you come in with a video and you're like, here's everything I know about Morning Meltdown. And they're like, well, I was really curious about Daily Sunshine. And then suddenly you're sending them another YouTube video of your face talking about Daily Sunshine. They're going to think, I could never do what Leslie's doing, because look at all the freaking videos she had to make, right? It's totally okay for us to use the resources that are there. So show our team that they don't have to be making everything. They don't have to reinvent the wheel. They can duplicate what's already there. And then also, whatever systems you do have that are working, share them with your team. They can make some tweaks, or they can just use your video, or they could use your content. And Holly Hillier said something in a different training, but I thought it was really good. She has this separate website that she uses for her coach sneak peeks, and it's all videos that she has put together. It's only 4 videos, but they're all from her. And she said some people in her downline have hesitated sending people into that group because they're like, they're going to just see your face and then they're going to want to sign up with you because you're so awesome. And she's like, I tell all my coaches to say, look at the upline we have and the system she's made. So when you're coaching like me, you just have to invite people to this group, and she's already done the work. So if you can kind of spin it in that way, I thought that was a cool way of also talking about the duplication. And then finally, S is story. We always share stories in our social media, or we should be. We share stories perhaps in our challenge groups. Share stories with your coaches. Save some of you and what's so special about you for them. And make your team page or your team vibe, or just send them a voice memo with a story that happened to you that reminded you of them. Or send them a memo telling them about this thing you just did in your business that so much scared you, and dare them to do the same. Share stories with your team, not just trainings, not just literature, not just video upon video and link upon link. Share some of you, and they'll be open to doing the same thing as well. So I love that. I thought it was really cool. D for develop, I for invest, A for acquire, M for model, O for outline, N for nourish, D for duplicate, and S for story. And I am going to be duplicating this in a picture and sending it your way. Any questions on this before we move into the action item? And welcome to some new faces.
I have a question, Pam, just for clarification.
Yes, sure.
Thinking about the N, the nourish.
Yeah.
I just want to go back quick. So you were saying like nourish your own time and energy, but then you switched and you were talking
It
about
was like two. Yeah, sorry.
No, that's
It's just two different things. Like, and it goes back to the invest. She kept saying the invest and the nourish go hand in hand.
okay.
We have to nourish our own well-being as coaches, so we can't be sucked dry.
Yeah.
So choose who you're investing in so that you have time to nourish your own business and your own self. But then use yourself as how you nourish your coaches. It doesn't have to be financial. So it doesn't have to be sending them gifts and creating retreats and doing all this stuff. Our time, especially at this stage in our business when we're still creating an income and trying to create a nest egg for ourselves, we can't be sending everybody a gift card every time they breathe, right? Or invite a coach. We just can't do that. But an extra one-on-one or an extra social media audit or whatever it is, you know, that would be that we know. And a lot of coaches, and Teresa and Leslie said the same thing in their sessions, and I think you said this too, a lot of coaches talk about the love language. Know your coach's love language and nourish them by that. So if they are words of affirmation person, throwing up some recognition for them on the team page is going to be helpful to them. If they're an acts of service person, maybe creating an invite that they can send out for them personally. If they're feeling a little bit of a writer's block, that could be a way to nourish them. So think about the love language and how you can nourish those people, but only the ones who are worth, which is a rude way of saying it, investing in. Okay? Does that make sense? I did jump too fast. I was just trying to keep at a certain pace, and I did that one with skedaddle. I don't know. I can't speak. I don't. Bathroom, maybe? I don't know. I'm not sure. I thought he was on the couch with you. Okay, sorry. Back to this. So now for our action item, if everyone's ready. Does anyone else have a question? I hope no one else has a call, because this is the one to be on. All right. Anyway. Moving on. My jokes are not landing. So 2 little action items. Number 1, so for this diamond roadmap, what I would like for you to do is to invest in a whiteboard or little whiteboards because you want it to be erasable. It was fun because Brittany Leggett, who spoke on the National Wake Up Call, was showing this today. She has a giant, like, teacher-sized whiteboard, and she has all her diamonds listed on it. And now that's my new goal. But I've had these little mini 2-sided whiteboards that I actually stole from my own classroom that I have my diamonds. So I've got my husband on one side, and I don't have all these people are not diamonds, but like my potential diamonds that I can control. My husband's on one side, my mom is on another, my first business center and my second business center on the other side. And so what I do on these is I keep track of my emerald coaches in green, my active coaches are in black, and then anybody who's inactive, I write in red. And then if there's any empty spaces, I fill names in purple of dream coaches that I would want to put there. So I've got a lot of spaces to fill out. My mom's is all purple. She has no one under her, and she probably won't for a while. But it gives me a good visual. And once a week, Brittany Leggett also said this in her training today, which I don't know when I check this, but I like what she's doing, so I'm going to do this as well. I'm going to put a reminder in my phone for 1 day a week when I know that that's a time when I can go into my coach office and fill this in and like redo it, because it'll just be a constant thing. In fact, I have something that goes off in my phone every Sunday night at 9 p.m. that Brittany Leggett did last year at Summit that I love. I don't know if it is going to show up. Hold on. I want to read it to you. If I can find where my calendar is. I've read this before on a call, so I know some of you know it, and people who were at Summit last year know it, but she read this to us. I am building a thriving business because I plan and prepare daily. I stay flexible in my daily business approach, but disciplined in my daily business activities. And she encouraged us last year at Summit to pull out our phone and type that in and put it in as a reminder every Sunday night to kind of set ourselves up for a positive week. And it still goes off every Sunday night at 9 p.m. And I think that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to add now go check Coach Office and update my Diamond Roadmap. But that's my first action item for you is to either schedule right now a time where you can go and get some whiteboards and get yourself going with this, or just do it in a notebook with some pencil. That's cool too. But just be aware and look at it, and it makes it so much faster. I know Teresa did this before she went Diamond, and it really is, it's so visual. When I was going for Diamond 2 years ago, I was able to join an accountability call with Amber Kuiper, who's now a superstar Diamond coach. She put out an all call for people in Jess's town line as well who could join this, and she was able to put me on the call somehow. And I had to send her a picture of this every Tuesday night before a Wednesday morning call, or I wasn't allowed to be on the call. So it gets you in a habit when someone holds you that accountable. So I'm happy to hold you accountable to that. If you want to send this to me every Monday night before our call, I'd be happy to I'm not even going to look at it and assess it, just see that it's there. So that's action item number 1 for the long run. Action item number 2, because we're talking about diamonds and we're talking about building our diamond downline, it's a 2-part action item. So you decide which stage you're in right now. Number 1, if you can, I want you to go and send 3 coach invites right now as I'm done speaking. If you don't know who you would send 3 coach invites to, then your goal instead is to make a list of 10 dream coaches. And then throughout this week, try to follow up with those people. Just do it. The hard things aren't going to happen if we don't do the hard things once in a while. Then they become a lot easier. So if you can, right now, send 3 coach invites before you sign off. If not, without overthinking it and without judging yourself, write down the name of 10 people that you think would be kick butt coaches on your team so that you can grow them into diamonds now that we know how to do it. Got it? All right. Once you're done doing those things, you can wave goodbye. If you have any questions, you're welcome to unmute and ask them. I'm going to look through here. Let's see. Accountability. Oh, Leslie pooped her pants because she asked to coach. All the poop talk this weekend. Let's see. Here's the link. Oh, thank you, Laura, for sending the caption maker. I love it. Thank you, guys. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. Farah had to go, but she says thank you. All right. Let's see. I'm going to mute because I'm going to send voice memos. Voice memos are the bomb. You ladies all rock. I'm going to stop the recording, so you're welcome to unmute and say inappropriate things at any time. Thank you for joining our call tonight.